Marco Rubio and JD Vance both have big weeks. What's the latest on Iran? The panel's going to weigh in on it all. Welcome to the Sean Spicer Show. Let's get into it. All right, guys, it is Thursday, one of my favorite days of the week because we get to break it all down with the panel, have some fun, and I actually have a really fun winner and loser this week, which I hope that no one takes because that's why I always go last, but you never know. Anyway, some really great news to start the show. I was so excited. Last night I got a text and an email around 10 o'clock, which generally I'm in bed. So I was like, what's going on? And it is now official. Trump 2.0 has made the New York Times bestseller list. Thank you to everybody who's made this possible. I appreciate all the support, all the purchases, all the reviews on Amazon. Making the bestseller list is tough. Making the New York Times bestseller list when your book has Trump's face on the cover is an entirely new feat of being, because even the publisher said to me, you do know that you put Donald Trump's face on this book, it's going to make it very difficult for the New York Times to put it on the bestseller list. But sure enough, they even got that. I had a great time at the Heritage Foundation yesterday talking about Trump 2.0 and the workup and the lead up. Take a quick look at that. Maha, for example, we're making tremendous strides. We're making America healthier, more conscious of what they're putting in their body. I use myself as the prime example of this, right? So I've like yo-yoed as a, I've been in better shape and not as good shape, right? When you go see a nutritionist, they used to be like, okay, so we're going to put a daily calorie intake together for you. This is what you need to lose some weight. And okay. And then, by the way, so maybe here are your snacks. We're going to give you this fruit bar or something like that.
It's always a disappointing list to me.
Right, of course it is. It's like, I don't like that. I don't like that. That tastes horrible. But even the second that I like something, it's always like, yeah, that's not really that good for you. But so I'd be like, okay, well, here's this bar, a protein bar or something, and it's only got 100 calories. Great. What Bobby Kennedy got us to do is to say, flip that bar over the back, and how many of those ingredients can you pronounce? All right. You get the gist. But we had a great conversation there about Maha and so much of the other stuff. A big reminder, the Trump Kennedy Center event that I'm doing in Washington, D.C. is March 15th. Tickets are absolutely free. One of the last times. Even if you don't want to see me and you just want to see the Trump Kennedy Center before it closes for a couple of years, go to SeanSpicer.com. You'll see a picture of the book there. Click on it. Get your free tickets. We're doing a VIP reception on the roof afterwards. I'm scared of heights, and I'm even excited. By the way, tomorrow, great show with Jan Ukalik on this best-selling book that he has on China and body parts. It sounds disgusting, but it's unbelievable what's going on, and I'm excited to have that conversation with him. You're not going to want to miss it. He's over at the Epic Times doing amazing work, and I'm really excited about that. Before I bring in the panel, I got to tell you, after I got my great news about the book, I had already taken my Beam Stream powder. I had a great night's sleep knowing that I had some great news, but this is what I do every single night. I literally take one scoop of the Beam Dream powder, put it in some water, put it in the microwave for 30 seconds, and boom, I'm out like a light. I wake up feeling refreshed, ready to go. I track my fitness, by the way. I got an Oura Ring, a Fitbit. I got all this stuff, or a Whoop. I always wake up looking at my sleep score. And because of Beam's Dream powder, boom, it says I'm ready to go. I had a great night's sleep. All 5 natural ingredients: reishi, apigenin, L-theanine, magnesium, melatonin. I love this stuff. I get asked all the time, do you actually take it? Of course I do, every night. And you can too, because Beam right now has a 40% offer. I don't know when it'll end. Trust me, it will. So go to shopbeam.com/Spicer. Use code Spicer for your best discount that you've ever gotten on Beam. You will love this stuff. Shop Beam, BEAM.com/Spicer. Code word Spicer for 40% off. And then, by the way, I'm so excited to show this off. I've talked a lot about how much I love Patriot Mobile and the products and the service. And guess what? I now have, this is a hotspot that I travel with. This is my Patriot Mobile. It really looks pretty cool, like America, love America, patriotic. So whenever I travel now, I've actually got a Patriot Mobile hotspot that I travel with. So you got great wireless service, and it's on all those great networks, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile. But the cool part is they're an activist company. And oh, by the way, I forgot to even tell you, when I set up my Patriot hotspot, I call, a dude answers in America. They're in Texas and California. They speak English. You got to love that. You don't have to sit there and be like, no, this is what I mean. Patriot Mobile, 100% US, great service, but they're an activist company that gives back to pro-life, pro-veteran, free speech causes. That's why I really love them. You're getting the best of everything. You feel comfortable in every dollar you spend. So you can go to patriotmobile.com/Spicer or give them a call at 972-PATRIOT. But if you go to patriotmobile.com/Spicer or give them a call at 972-PATRIOT. Just say Sean Spicer sent you and you get 1 free month. So now I'm actually saving you money in this economy. Hello. Thank you very much. PatriotMobile.com/Spicer. Without further ado, I want to bring in today's amazing panel. Commentator Stephanie Hamill, the future First Lady of Florida. She's doing the Chamber of Commerce ad down there in Florida. Erica Donalds and Adam Guillet of Accuracy Media. Guys, good to see you all. Erica, I'm going to start with you. I don't know what's up with you guys in Florida. You all have to have like 18 jobs. So Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, National Archivist, National Security Advisor, DJ, and now White House Press Secretary. Take a look.
All right, can I? There's no way I can figure out who to call on. I'm just gonna like press right in the middle, right there. You right there, yeah. Right in the back row.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I'll go to you next. I can't get everybody. You know that. All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Secretary Rubio.
Keep going
welcome,
right.
Welcome to the White House.
What's that?
Talking to me, sir?
Yeah, to you, yes, sir.
Thank you. I have 2 questions on 2 separate issues that
Do
come
they
under...
get 2 questions for these?
2 questions that...
There's a lot of people in here.
That fall under your umbrella.
All right, well, you answer. You can ask me 2 questions. I'll give you 1 answer. Go
Thank you
ahead.
very much.
All right. I mean, look, I got to be honest with you folks. Erica, I was a little jealous. I'm like, how come I didn't start like this? But Marco Rubio is really, I mean, he's getting accolades all over the place. He's DJing, he's press conferencing, he's flying to meet the Pope. I mean, what's the vibe in Florida? Are you guys super excited?
Absolutely. Marco Rubio is the pride of Florida. He's doing an incredible job as the best Secretary of State in history. And now he's in on the joke. I mean, it's our favorite joke about this White House that Marco Rubio is doing so many different jobs, our favorite meme. And he truly is a great press secretary. He's so knowledgeable. He gets to showcase, he was Speaker of the House in Florida before he went to the United States Senate. He's multi-talented. He's so impressive. That's why a lot of people are saying he might have a run at the next presidency. But if not, he could take your old job, Sean.
I don't know that he'd want that one. Adam, I was unbelievably impressed with the media ate it all up. I mean, I was like, what's going on? How did this happen? I'm like, they hated me. They came after me like spider monkeys. And here's Marco Rubio charming the pants off of them. They're like, ha, 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 ha. Great one, Mr. Secretary. Like, I was like, how did I not? What did I do wrong? Adam, I mean, I just think that we got to be careful that we don't believe that they actually like any of us. They'll rent us for a moment, but they don't really like him. He just, I think, played the job well temporarily.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's kind of like substitute teacher day. You're not taking it as seriously. You're not going to go as hard on them. Maybe if you're lucky, you get to watch a movie instead. But to her point, I'm a Florida evangelist. I think ours is the greatest state in American history. And there's so much talk about this is going to be China's century. This is Florida's century. We're putting out all-stars left and right like DeSantis and Rubio. I worked with him when he was the House Speaker, and he was a rock star then, putting forth great policies. He's got a great future in front of him. He's incredibly charming, and it was exciting to see him on display, and it's exciting to see the rest of the country get to appreciate the talent that we've been seeing for some time in the Sunshine State.
Stephanie, I mean, his stock is rising. I mean, Erica mentioned that there's a lot of people now that are saying, maybe this guy should run for president too. He's made it very clear that he's deferring to J.D. Vance. But I mean, I get asked this, like, what do you think? And I hope they run as a ticket, to be blunt. But I get a lot of questions about what his future looks like.
I think you're spot on, Sean, and I would love to see him run. And we keep seeing the headlines, we keep seeing the chatter on social media that Marco Rubio is a presidential favorite in the future. And not only that, but as in regards to this press conference, they were saying that this was sort of like a presidential tryout. And Marco Rubio has impressed so many people, especially a lot of us who were skeptical of him. He's coming off as clean, polished, confident, intelligent, and he has this way of being like serious, but relatable. And as you pointed out, he was charming the pants off of the reporters in the newsroom. I've actually never seen them be so warm to a Republican in this type of setting ever. I mean, they were eating it up and it was incredible to watch. And there were so many just kind of interesting moments with Rubio where he was able to joke about his DJ name. He said, you guys aren't ready for that. They were talking about some video that was going viral on social media of him DJing at like a family wedding or something. And then another reporter asked him a question in Spanish and he was able to break into Spanish fluently. So there are very few people that can do what Rubio does. And this is just generating more memes, right? The memes of him wearing every single hat. Now he's in the press secretary dress.
It is interesting. And I wanted to show you people, they took this video. So he gets asked this question by Kelly Wright, used to be with Fox, now with CBN. And I'm going to be honest with you because I like Kelly as a person and I'm a big fan of CBN. But Kelly asked a question about what he thought of America, right? And I was like, oh my God, this is a throwaway question. Okay, here's the question. Here's the answer, just so everyone sees it. Take a look.
I hope for America is what it's always been. I think it's the hope I hope we all share. We want it to continue to be the place where anyone from anywhere can achieve anything, where you're not limited by the circumstances of your birth, by the color of your skin, by your ethnicity, but frankly, it's a place where you are able to overcome challenges and achieve your full potential. I think that should be the goal of every country in the world, frankly, but I think in the U.S., we're not perfect. Our history is not one of perfection, but it's still better than anybody else's history, and ours is a story of perpetual improvement. Each generation has left the next generation of Americans freer, more prosperous, safer, and that is our goal as well. But it is a unique and exceptional country, and as we come upon this 250-year anniversary, I think we have a lot to learn and be proud of in our history. It is one of perpetual and continuous improvement, where each generation has done its part to bring us closer to fulfilling the vision that the founders of this country had upon its founding. So, thank you.
So, Erica, he took that answer. And I like I said, I don't want to like BS anybody. When Kelly Wright, like I said, he's a friend. He asked the question, what do you think? What's your message about America? And I thought, oh my gosh, like you got the Secretary of State / National Security Advisor / Archivist / DJ / Defensive Coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, like, and I thought, okay, that clip has now gone viral. Like they've now changed it, put some music behind it. I don't want to play that because I'll get copyright violations, but like that has become like people are sending that to all over and saying this is what America's about. Like it's inspiring, it's patriotic. I mean, Marco took what should have just been a normal question and been like, I love the country, and now everybody's like watching this clip, and he's the people who probably aren't political are like, wow, who's this Marco Rubio guy?
He blew it out of the water, and it's because he knows what achieving the American dream is all about. His family came from Cuba with nothing and was able to work hard, achieve the American dream, which is to allow your children to have it better than you did. And look at him, the son of Cuban immigrants, the son of working class people, who's now not just has gone through the United States Senate, but now serving as Secretary of State, and truly the embodiment of a happy warrior, which is what we all want, right? Whether you're left or right, Democrat or Republican, you want people who are fighting for the good of this country and for the good of its people and the good of our future. And he just embodies that in such an amazing way that truly is inspiring. It has to be to anyone, no matter whether you're a Republican or not.
I was, like I said, he hit this thing out of the park, and now he's off meeting with the Pope. But it's while Marco's stock is going up, I think there's JD Vance is like doing the slow and steady to win the race part of this. And I mean that by, he was in Iowa. He talked to a bunch of the key leaders in Iowa, which again is going to be an early state on the Republican primary, right? So he met with Bob Vanderplaats, a huge evangelical leader in Iowa and frankly nationally as well, but like huge player there. He met with Steve Dees, who's a talk show host, but very influential in Iowa. He met with Jeff Kaufman, the party chair, longtime Republican Party chair, doing the smart thing. And then here's the thing, Adam. He's been doing a lot on fraud. Take a look.
Whatever your views on a specific policy, there is maybe no more important issue than how about when you pay your taxes to the federal government? We just had tax day just a couple of weeks ago. How about you have a government that actually takes those resources as what they are? Your sweat, your tears, your time away from your family, and protects every single one of those dollars. And that's what we're doing by going after fraud, finally, in the federal government.
That's Adam. I can't tell you how long I've been waiting to hear that message. I don't mind paying. I mean, when I say I don't mind, I love this country, and it costs money to have all of the great things that we have here, from the roads and bridges to our military. I get that, but I don't want to pay a penny more than I have to. And when JD Vance said that, that was the respect that I want to hear from government officials as a taxpayer. I was like, boom. And as I said, like, Marco's doing his stuff. I thought but he also, JD's doing the slow and steady to win the race, which is go out, meet with the key leaders, talk about issues. I feel like, he got a little overshadowed this week, but he also had a great week.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Anytime I hear a Republican elected official walking around talking about waste, fraud, and abuse, my eyes roll and my stomach churns, because there is absolutely massive fraud in any big government program, unquestionably. But those are merely a drop in the bucket compared to the actual entitlement programs on their own. The only way to balance our budget, the only way to pay down our ridiculous national debt, is serious entitlement reform. It's easy to run around claiming, well, if we just get rid of the fraud, we're going to be fine. No, we're not. The fraud is absolutely terrible, but the entitlement programs will bankrupt us regardless. The greatest threat to our national security is our national debt. And we will not get there by, offering platitudes that we're going to catch more fraud in Minnesota. We're going to get there by actually reining in entitlements.
Stephanie, Adam's got a point, right? And I agree with him wholeheartedly. I mean, that's where the real money is. But the reality is that I also feel like if you don't respect the small stuff, you'll never get to the big stuff, right? Sarah, my old colleague, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, was telling me the story that when she became governor of Arkansas, she realized there were all these fax lines in state government. Like, throughout Arkansas, they had fax numbers. Now, I can't even tell you the last time I saw a fax machine. Never mind fax something, never mind like anyone's faxed anything. And yet you think about, like, let's say you had 500 fax lines at $20 a pop a month. I mean, that starts to add up. But while I agree with Adam, I also feel like that we should have a more and deeper respect of every dollar that's spent, and not just dismiss it and say, oh, well, that's only $20,000 and that's only $200,000 and that's only $1 million. Like, to me, okay, great. I think every dollar should be treated with respect that a taxpayer works for and sends to, whether it's Washington or Tallahassee in the case of the Byrons.
I think every Republican, every Republican that I know does care about the dollars, like the little dollars, the big dollars. It's our party that talks about fraud, the excessive amount of taxes that we pay. It's never the Democrats who talk about this. They will literally tax you for every single penny that is in your account if they could, without giving you any reason of where the money's going. And we've seen this play out with a lot of the fraud that was going on in Minnesota, some of the fraud we're learning about in California. And the Democrats' reaction to it is just insane, right? They're like, actually, we should punish those who are investigating fraud at these levels. There's nothing to see here. It's like they're angry at the people who are looking into it versus angry at the fraud that is in the hundreds of millions and billions of dollars in some situations.
Erica, do you hear that when you and your husband Byron are on the campaign trail in Florida? Does that come up as an issue? Do people say, I don't like spending money, I don't like Tallahassee, the state capital there, spending money that they don't have, when we know that there's a lot of inefficiencies and waste? Is that, or is it just a pet peeve of some of us?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, Byron just announced this week making Florida the most transparent government in the country by putting all of the financial information from local government to state government online, making it searchable, making all of the contracts, which are already public record, but you have to request it and wait a month or two or more for them to get back to you. Why not put all of that and make it available, full transparency for the taxpayers who are the ones who are digging through these things and asking the right questions? Actually, though, it's not just Republicans that care about fraud. If you're looking at polling data, especially in California, although Democrats and especially independents want government services, they want those taxes to benefit the disadvantaged. They don't want that money wasted, because they do want it to go to the purposes that they are voting for, that they think they're voting for. And so this is really a bipartisan issue. And I think it's very smart on JD's part to lean into this and make it an issue that he is likely to run on.
One of the other things that Marco was asked when he was in the briefing room was about what's going on in Iran. And I want to just play for you a second, because I am truly perplexed where we go now in Iran. Like, I feel like they're trying to get a deal. They understand the domestic politics. The blockade is kind of working, but Iran doesn't seem to want to capitulate. This is what Marco had to say about the blockade in the briefing room.
These guys have shut down the Straits of Hormuz. This is what Iran is saying. We will shut down the Straits. No one can go through. No country in the world can go through unless we allow you to go through, and you have to pay us. But our ships can go through, meaning the Iranian ships, as much as they want. That's crazy. Who would agree to that? So how are we going to have a situation where they get to close the straits to everybody, and the only people who are allowed to go through there 100% without paying anything are the Iranians? If you do that, they'll keep the straits closed forever. They're trying to make this some new normal. Okay, under no circumstances can we ever allow them to normalize the fact that they get to blow up commercial ships and put mines in the water. So the response to that is we're going to blockade your ships. If everyone's ships are not getting out, your ships are not getting out either. That's not an act of war. That's a defensive measure. It's a counter to what they have decided to do. You know what is an act of war? Putting mines in the water. Why don't the members of Congress, whoever it is complaining about it, they should be all over that. These guys put mines in the water. That alone, mining in the water is illegal, period, under any circumstances, and they've done it. But this is crazy stuff, but this is what they've done.
Okay, Adam, I honest to God, I mean, my answer, and I've said this now for 10 days or whatever it's been, the only thing that Iran respects is might, strength. We need to start bombing again. And they are going to try to weasel out of everything. They are not going to give us a deal where their uranium goes bye-bye. I mean, I guess the question that I'm asking you is, where do you think the puck goes from here? Because we're not meeting with them. We're exchanging paper. But I feel like we're not just at a blockade. We're at a full-on stalemate.
Yeah, watching Iran debate with these negotiators is like watching that scene in Monty Python where the guy's got his limbs chopped off. He can't even do anything. He's threatening as if he's winning the fight. And the other guy's like, what are you going to do? Bleed on me? We have weakened Iran so dramatically in the past 3 years. Their proxies are nearly gone in Hezbollah and in Hamas. Al-Assad is out of Syria. They are so much weaker than they were just a couple of years ago. Their ballistic missile production, gone. Their nuclear production, gone. And conversely, Israel and the West, we've built all these allies. The U.S. now working with the UAE, Israel working with the UAE in ways never imaginable before. And the sad fact is that the media in America buys into the ridiculous narrative of the knight who has all of his limbs and arms and legs and whatnot chopped off as if he still has anything to stand on. Now, worst case scenario, we end up having to mow the lawn like Israel has done every couple of years and going back and striking Iran again whenever they act up. But I think we're in a much stronger position than ever imaginable, perhaps in my lifetime, relative to Iran. And I think we merely need to keep up the pressure because we've weakened our greatest geopolitical ally, while at the same time weakening China, because their oil is crushing them right now in an already weakened economy. We need to act like we're in the position of strength that we're actually in.
Stephanie Hamill, real quick, we had on the Huddle, the morning show I do, Mike Summers of the American Petroleum Institute. And he basically said, if everything kind of plays out, like we come to some deal, blah, 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 it's still going to be a while before we see cheap gas, okay? Because they have to assess the infrastructure in Iran, blah, 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 blah. Do you think that the White House is effectively messaging ahead of the midterms what we're doing in Iran, why we're doing with it? Because gas is going to be higher, right? I mean, if it goes down, it's going to be really close to the election, but probably not in time for the election.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. The timing isn't great, but I do think that the White House and President Trump are doing a good job messaging. The problem is the mainstream media and their hysteria and the way that they twist this conversation. It's almost like they want the U.S. to lose. They want President Trump and our military to fail, which is absolutely disgusting. Think about over the past few decades, every single Republican and Democrat president has talked tough on Iran and has made that a priority. And all of these same people that are spinning the situation, they were all for it. But all of a sudden, because President Trump is in the seat here leading this effort against Iran, now it's a problem because everything is a problem in their eyes when it's coming from the Trump administration. And so, this needed to be tackled head on. Iran, we cannot trust them. These are the regime that chants death to America. They are a threat to not only the U.S., but the entire world. These people shouldn't have nuclear weapons. And we know that they were on the way to that very mission. And so, I think the White House is doing a great job, but the mainstream media is spinning it. And so the American people aren't really learning and understanding everything that's going on.
Hey, Erica, I have a question that I've been talking about all week about redistricting and the Voting Rights Act, but you're the perfect person to ask about. This Voting Rights Act, a lot of Republicans are trying to figure out how many seats we're going to pick up, right? So we've got Louisiana, we'll get a seat out of there, probably one out of Alabama. I think there's potentially to get the Memphis seat out of Tennessee. The Clyburn seat, I'm not so sure about in South Carolina. But the Democrats keep talking about like how this is such a huge issue. Your husband, Byron Donalds, represents a majority white district. In fact, every black Republican represents that. So Burgess Owens, Wesley Hunt, John James. It's interesting how the Democrats as a party have to carve a seat up for a constituency they claim is important. But for Republicans, we don't seem to have that problem.
Oh, that's exactly right. It's the DEI in the voting, right? And putting these gerrymander districts together because white Democrats don't want black Democrats running against them in their own districts. So they want to set them aside where they're only representing other black voters and not crossing over to white Democrat voters. It's actually the most racist thing to say you can only represent people that match your skin color. So black Democrats should be offended by being put in that corner, if you will, to only represent people of their skin color and not a wider population. I'm glad that the Supreme Court made this decision because we should not have black districts and white districts, no matter which party that you're talking about happens to be Democrats. We've got to get away from that level of identity politics and focus on issues. It doesn't matter which party you are in. It should not be based on skin color. I'm glad that we were able to get that out of the way. It's high time that it happened. And get back to what meritocracy, right? Who is the best person for the job and to represent this constituency based on their values, their beliefs, and what they need from the government.
You know, Adam, the media never wants to tell you that part that Erica just alluded to, right? They're like, oh, they're diluting this. And it's like, no, I've said this before. Democrats want to make race a priority in their party. Then say so. Just say, great, we'll give you more money to run. We'll give you more resources. We'll make it a priority in our primaries. But it's funny, like the media never tells you that all of this current only benefits one party. They're not getting blacks elected. They're getting black Democrats elected. And that's very different. But you won't ever hear that in the media narrative because they want to make it seem like this is an attack on race as opposed to undermining what was clearly a racist outcome, which is we're going to guarantee black Democrats get X amount of seats.
Well, the most invisible person to the mainstream media is an African-American Republican. You know, look at how they celebrate African-American History Month every year. Do we see the celebration of Clarence Thomas? I don't think so. That stuff doesn't happen. Do we see people talking about Tim Scott, other great leaders? Doesn't happen at all. It's as if those people don't exist. And it's amazing because these people love to hyper focus on skin color. They love to reject Martin Luther King's vision of a colorblind society. Skin color is supposedly everything to them, except political party matters even more than skin color, I guess, at the end of the day, because black Republicans, they don't even exist. They get no attention. It's as if these evil white racist Republicans would never elect a black man. That's what they want people to think rather than actually understanding reality.
Yeah. Stephanie, you know, I talked about all the potential additions that we could get out of redistricting, all these states that are now acting because of the Supreme Court Act. One state that's not acting, Indiana, where we could have picked up some seats, but a bunch of stick in the mud elitists said, we don't want to do that, despite the fact that the Democrats are doing it all over the place. So President Trump said, fine, I'm going to target you guys. And his team had a huge night on Tuesday. They literally sent a lot of these Indiana state senators packing. And one of the guys lost by like 50 points. My takeaway from Indiana was that this was a test of President Trump's, for all the media questioning of President Trump, does he still have a grip on the party? It was, oh, yes, he does. Like he made it very clear. If you cross him, they will take you out. And they showed it on Tuesday night in Indiana. And I think that is foreshadowing of a lot of the power that he still has for the Republican Congress to maintain their foot on the gas when it comes to, you know, Save America and the other legislative priorities.
Absolutely. And if you tune into social media, you would have thought that MAGA was dead. It didn't exist anymore because some prominent people who were Trump supporters who called themselves MAGA are no longer MAGA, if you will, because they didn't like a few issues. But if you think about it, there was no other better candidate than President Trump. And in my opinion, I don't think there's any president in my lifetime that has accomplished as much as this administration and President Trump. So, they don't like a couple things, so they want to throw out the entire Republican Party. I mean, that's just insane to me. Think about what our option was in the last election. That was Vice President Kamala Harris. Could you imagine the direction this country would be in if she was leading the charge? I mean, it is a nightmare to think about it. So again, I am thankful for President Trump and everything that he's been put through and his family put through so that he could stand up for the American people. And in regards to these elections and the MAGA candidates coming ahead, I think it is a referendum on President Trump, and the American people are still standing with him. And because we know that President Trump is always right. And things might be a little bit painful, but in the end, he's going to find solutions and he's going to make it right.
It's funny, Erica, you mentioned DEI when we were talking about voting rights. The Trump administration sued the New York Times because it discriminated against a white man. And this is what this is literally, I'm reading from the Wall Street Journal. It says the New York Times is sued by the Equal Employment Opportunity Center, Commission, it's EEOC, over allegations it passed over a white man for promotion in pursuit of what the agency called unlawful corporate diversity policies. In a complaint filed in Manhattan federal court Tuesday, the U.S. watchdog said that the Times chose not to promote the staffer to an editor role in early 2025 because of his race and gender. Instead, it hired a non-white woman who the agency alleged had less experience. One of the things that I love about Trump 2.0 is there's nothing sacred anymore. They're going after culture. They're going after, education and academics. And that's obviously your wheelhouse. But they're not leaving anything off the table. They're like, if you played to the woke DEA policies of the Biden years, we're coming after you.
Yeah, it's a celebration to dismantle this anti-American, anti-meritocracy that has taken place, especially in corporate America. I was in the investment management business for 20 years, that ESG, where they were giving us quotas of how many women or minorities that we had to have on our investment team. So you had to select someone based on their gender in order to qualify to manage some of these public pensions. It infiltrated the entirety of corporate America and throughout government. And I love just making an example out of, especially the New York Times. We love to hate them, to sue them, because we've seen people win, and especially white men who've been discriminated against with these types of policies. And they've really gone by the wayside, but it's great to showcase why this is not okay. It's exactly the same as the lack of meritocracy in elections with the Voting Rights Act that was also just overturned. So hopefully by the end of this Trump term, we'll be rid of all the DEI and ESG across the board.
Adam, as a white guy to another white guy, I'm actually, to pick up on what Erica was saying, for you remember a few years ago, the idea was people that I would talk to, at least in my world, would say, I'm not even going to apply for that. I'm not going to do it because there's no way I'll get it, right? The bend of the Biden years was if you didn't fit the mold of a gay Indian that had three hands, you were never going to get, a job or promotion or accepted to whatever. And at least this idea of meritocracy is rooting its head again. The idea of who's the most qualified person for the job or for the admissions. And I think we're getting back to that.
Well, I'd like to see that, but I worry that in the public sector, we're definitely not going that direction, certainly not fast enough. As we do hidden camera investigations at Accuracy in Media. And every week, all year, we've been releasing multiple hidden camera investigations from universities and K-12 school districts in red states that are still pushing DEI in defiance of the Trump executive order, in defiance of state law. And in a lot of instances, people get fired. One of our investigators, everywhere she shows up, we call it the angel of unemployment. These people get fired. But these are institutional problems. And at times it seems like the Trump administration is quick to declare victory, move on to something else, while the radicals in education, unlike the New York Times, funded by our tax dollars, continue doing DEI each and every day. Harmeet Dillon has done some great work investigating a number of these universities, including ones that we've exposed. Ken Paxton in Texas seems to investigate every university that we expose, which is a ton of fun. But I would like to see a far more proactive Trump administration actually staying on top of these universities and ensuring their reform.
is there for all of you? I mean, is there an issue that you wish, like Save America? I think is huge, right? But I also wonder, and I say this because I know where I stand in the political spectrum, right? And I go, okay, Save America to me is huge. Integrity is huge. Like if we don't know about what's going on in our elections, but I do wonder if that's what's going to pull enough people to our side. Erica, you're out there on the campaign trail. You and Byron talk to people every day. What is it that you think we're not talking enough about?
I think we are talking about what people care most about, which is the affordability crisis. Unfortunately, these things take time, right? It takes time to unravel 4 years of terrible policies under the Biden administration and what they did really totally against the economy and what would help the American people. And so trying to message that it's going to continue to get better is just difficult when people are feeling things in their pocketbooks. But that is what people care about. People do care about Save America because, and it's not for the midterms. And you know how this is. You have to balance great policy that truly is good for America and good for the long-term future of this country with what's going to help you message to win the next election. I commend President Trump and the Trump administration because they are trying to focus on both. Save America is truly to save America and to make sure that our elections are secure and that we are not taken over by illegal immigrants who are not supposed to be voting in our elections. I think people do care about that. Is it going to motivate people to get out and vote in the midterms? Perhaps, and definitely the base. But when it comes to independence, what we are hearing is the pocketbook, right? Those economics issues. It's the economy, stupid. So we just have to continue to hammer on that and make sure that they're actually feeling the results of the good policies that are in place.
You know, Adam, it's funny. There's this balance between promoting what you've done and the policies that are making people's lives better and pointing out how ridiculous the other side is, like how crazy some of their left-wing progressive policies are. And I know this isn't an elected official, but this reminds me of what's going on. There's this guy, Cole Allen, who tried to assassinate the president and kill other people at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, right? They lock him up. Okay. They arrest the dude. And this is not a joke. This is literally the manifestation, in my opinion, of liberal policies. The magistrate judge in Washington, D.C., apologized to Cole Allen for the conditions of the D.C. jail. I mean, this is not made up. Whatever you've been through, I apologize for the prior week, the judge told him. He's sorry. I mean, dude, you just tried to kill some people. What's the big deal? I'm sorry that the jail isn't up to your standards. And we'll put you in the Marriott next time. I mean, that's who these people are, Adam.
It really is. And I was looking into this judge. When he was appointed, the letter written in support of him proudly proclaimed how devoted he was, there it is again, to diversity, equity, and inclusion. My gosh, the priorities of these people, their worldview is so far removed from mainstream society. Now, I recognize that this isn't going to be the issue that gets the people to the polls. I think affordability is number 1, 2, and 3, but it's so important for Americans to understand this is who they are. These are their priorities. This is what matters to them most. Making sure this guy has the proper mattress after attempting to kill the president of the United States, the leader of the free world. You lead with an apology. That's the kind of judge. You wonder why your streets are full of crime in major cities, because these prosecutors, these DAs drop charges against violent criminals, send them out on the street, and this guy gets an apology after an assassination attempt. Their worldview is insane to me.
Stephanie Hamill, I never thought that I would think trying to assassinate a group of people would be a partisan issue. Like the guy, literally, everybody should be outraged. Because here's the thing, even if you're that liberal judge, all the people in the room were a bunch of woke leftist journalists. You should be at least hoping that he didn't take them out.
But they all know they weren't the targets, right? Because they're the ones that are on TV calling President Trump Hitler and completely just slandering the entire administration and everyone else that was there. So they're not worried about themselves. I mean, maybe there could have been an accident, maybe they could have been targeted, but they were not the targets, and they know that. That's why we're seeing the reaction that we're seeing. And as for this federal judge, I mean, it's absolutely despicable. His comments, I mean, that's disqualifying if you ask me. And apparently he has a history of this. He's like a history of activism. Has said some other questionable things things in regards to these types of matters, like sympathizing and feeling bad for the alleged violent criminals, if you will. And when it comes to Cole Allen, there's actual videos. Like, did the judge not see the actual video? I mean, everyone's innocent until proven guilty, and obviously this will go through the court system, there will be a trial and everything. But did he not see the video? I mean, we all saw it. And
not only that, but no one cared about all those people from January 6th that were kept without their due process in those same jails. No one cared about their conditions and their rights. And suddenly now a guy who literally tried to assassinate people, we worry about him. Anyway, unreal, by the way. I want to start, I want to go to winners and losers. Always, I love this. I think I have two that you guys are not going to guess. Erica Donalds, I'm going to start with you. Give me your winner of the week.
I've got to go with the ultimate Florida man, Marco Rubio, because he got to say they better check themselves before they wreck themselves at the press podium in the White House. So definitely a winner, 100%.
Adam, who do you have?
Every Florida property owner. As Governor DeSantis pointed out this week, Mayor Mamdani is the realtor of the year for the Sunshine State. The only mistake DeSantis ever made was selling his home. He makes $141,000 a year as governor. His property that he sold down the street from me makes a lot more.
All right, Erica, you got to remember you're not selling your house now, because when Byron becomes governor and you're first lady, you're going to keep making it that more people from New York are going to come down there. You know that. So just FYI, pro tip there. And you guys are investment people. I didn't need to tell you that. Stephanie, who do you think won the week?
As anyone watching this LA mayor's race, it is incredible. I am just in love with Spencer Pratt, mostly because I'm a millennial and I grew up watching his reality TV shows that he was part of. But he's, I mean, really stunning, and he's intelligent. And there was a debate yesterday, and he completely owned everyone on that stage. I mean, he's talking a lot of sense. Like, I never would have thought that would have actually come from his mouth. But he's doing an incredible job, and I honestly think that he has a chance at winning this.
Good call on that. I do wonder. He's getting a lot of national attention. That debate last night was pretty epic. But I will tell you, I do wonder if he's doing the blocking and tackling necessary in a campaign. And that's why Erica and Byron are on the I mean, like, there's things you do on a campaign. You can't just have a bunch of viral clips. You got to go talk to voters like they're doing. All right, my winner, I'm glad no one got this, is photo ID. And I'll tell you why. We talked about Save America Act. Barack Obama announced that the Obama Library Monstrosity Center, that's officially the name, will require photo ID. Now, I got to show you, they put out this video with Mark Hamill, by the way, which I just want to show you too, because this shows you, when I call it a monstrosity, this is what I'm talking about. Take a look.
Happy Star Wars Day from the Obama Presidential Center.
I have a very good feeling about this.
Mark, I am glad you are here. I want to tell you about someone.
Okay.
A young person born into ordinary circumstances, but restless, unsatisfied. A kid with big dreams, a bit of a rebel.
I like where this is going.
They join a scrappy group of underdogs and set out to change things.
By blowing up a giant space laser? No.
Mark, this is not about you.
All right. I mean, look, they are like, this is how cheesy this Obama, and it literally is disgusting. I mean, it's a monstrosity. People are actually calling it the Death Star. He wanted to do that thing with Mark Hamill of Luke of Star Wars. The Obama Center is disgusting. It's gross. It's an eyesore. And I mean, maybe they should use that laser Mark Hamill was talking about to blow it up. And I mean that don't play this. I'm not inciting violence, and I'm not just grow up everybody in the internet. I'm just saying, like, Mark Hamill brought it up. Maybe they do destroy this thing, but I'm telling you, it was disgusting. All right, I want to do losers real quick. Erica, you were ready to go. So who do you got?
Yeah, Indiana state senators and every state elected official that goes against the MAGA agenda, right? Be on warning, right? We did it in Texas when they went against school choice. We did it in Indiana. Now they went against redistricting. So who is up next?
All right. That's right. Watch out, lawmakers. All right, Adam, who do you have?
Well, now I have to say it's Mark Hamill. That's his worst role since The Last Jedi. Before that, I was going to say Californians, because they had a debate and people were praising Villaraigosa, who's still in favor of their insanely corrupt train to nowhere. So
there you go.
Yeah, two of them.
Stephanie, who do you have as a loser?
There's a video going viral of a woman who hung herself upside down naked in a bronze bell to bring awareness to climate change. I don't know if you guys saw this, but it is laugh out loud funny that these climate change activists are so insane that they think that this is going to do something for climate change. Instead, we're just laughing at them and we're actually concerned for their mental health.
There's some dude that hung out on a bridge in the DC area, and apparently I was like, well, how do you hang out? Like, how do you go to the bathroom if you're up on a bridge? And anyway, that's crazy. But I have, I was hoping you weren't going to go here. I have this woman, I just got to play the clip for you because it's epic. This is who my loser of the week is. Take a listen.
He's a very humble guy. 2 months in, he calls his bank in South Chicago to change his phone number. And I think his address. And so he gets a lady, says, yes, ma'am, I'm Robert Prevost, I'd like to change. She asks all the security questions. And then he says, oh, I'm sorry, sir, it says here you have to come in person. And he said, well, that's not gonna, I'm not gonna be able to do that. We can't change, no, sir. I gave you all the security questions. I'm sorry, sir. Would it matter to you if I told you I'm Pope Leo? She hung up on him. Could you imagine being known as the woman who hung up on the Pope?
All right, that's my loser. You hung up on the Pope when he tried to change his bank account address. Anyway, I love that. Thank you guys for being here. Great show. Thanks to everyone who's going to bought Trump 2.0. That free event at the Kennedy Center on May 15th is available at SeanSpicer.com. You get those tickets there. Continue to go to Amazon or wherever you get books and buy Trump 2.0. We'll see you back here tomorrow. We got a great show headed your way. See you then. Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.